What's going on, everybody? Back again with some more manga related content for you. So, today I'm going to be doing a Let's review, but unlike my other Let's reviews, this one is going to be, for the most part, non super duper spoilery. I'm going to try to leave out a lot of spoilers. The reason I'm doing this as a Let's review and not as a Let's talk about is that this is essentially like a complete story in one volume. It's not part one of a bigger narrative. It's a contained story, and it's by one of my favorite mangaka ever. And I'm not sure how many of you are super big Junji Ito fans, but I am personally like a pretty big Junji Ito fan. Like I have a ton of Junji Ito manga. I don't have everything he's ever done, but I do have quite a bit of it. And I'd like to one day just do like a really big Junji Ito video and just go down the line of all the stuff that I own by him and kind of just, give praise for each thing individually. And that's actually a video that I've been planning for almost as long as this channel has been alive. But I do want that video to come to fruition one day. I'm not sure when, because it's a lot of work, because he has a lot of content. He has a lot of manga that he's created over his expansive career that started in like what 1987 or something, like a year before I was born. I was born in 88, and his career started in 87. So that's like a 35-year career this man's got under his belt. I'm 34, so he's been scaring the hell out of people for 35 years. But before this gets any longer, this intro becomes any longer than it needs to be, today we're going to be reviewing Junji Ito's Black Paradox. The latest Junji Ito manga translation, Black Paradox, was initially published in Japanese in 2009. It feels good to add this English version of the story to my boundless Ito shrine. Anything this man creates and is sooner or later translated into English, I will without a doubt be adding to my Ito shrine. I do have 3 volumes of an Ito story series, though those are in the original Japanese. They were a gift from a friend of mine who went to Japan several years ago. That, however, is not what this video is about. This is intended as a review of Ito's Black Paradox, and that is what we will be talking about. I want to make this as spoiler-free as I can manage, while showing you these panels and giving you some story background and character details. We have 4 people on their way to commit suicide. On their trek to see this tragic act through, they encounter perfect copies of themselves, their doppelgangers. From there, in true Ito fashion, things take a turn for the bizarre. Our leads are attacked by their replicas, and 2 of the replicas are killed in the conflict. Killing the replicas carries a larger weight than what our leads realize. There is only one person who doesn't have a perfect copy of herself, an anomaly compared to the others. However, this girl can see what is to come, or rather has a spiritual awakening and can sense what's in store for the group, and how their lives will be altered. One of the 4 leads, instead of having a doppelganger created from the shadows of their unconscious, has a real legitimate robotic version of himself. It is the reason for this character wanting to commit suicide. The robot is a perfect copy of him in mind and body, and he feels useless now that this newer and much improved version exists. Another person wants to commit suicide because of a hideous birthmark that takes up half of her face, and she would rather die than continue to live with it. I won't go into the other 2's reasonings for wanting to die to keep it fresh. However, it does take a turn from being a story about people wanting to die to people wanting to profit off a strange orb that is birthed by a character's near-death experience. It is only the first of many of this sort of strange spherical creation, along with a spontaneously created or opened gateway to another world, a shining world. Ito's signature bizarre style really comes through in this story, and though it released more than 10 years ago in Japan, it feels fresh and new. I think that speaks volumes to the timelessness of Ito's work. This is a mangaka who's put an incredible amount of painstaking detail into every frame of every panel he draws. The reveals of some of the more graphic illustrations were my favorite part of the story, and of a lot of Ito's work in general. He gives you the hint of something terrible or disgusting lurking around the corner, and as you turn the page, you are greeted with something macabre, drawn with exquisite care to evoke a response. Whether that response is fear, disgust, or awe depends on the reader. Personally, I love every detail of every grotesque thing this mangaka draws. I've been an Ito fan for over a decade, and he has yet to let me down. The story itself isn't the greatest, and definitely not the best Ito story. It's kind of weak, to be honest, formulaic to the standard Ito style of storytelling. A character slowly goes crazy, someone you thought was a good person reveals themselves to be the opposite. Then throw in the traditional Ito anomalies, and you have yourself a tailored horror experience. That is not a knock by any means, because I love this man's work and will continue to support everything that drops in English in the future. I do recommend reading Black Paradox, and the reason I left so much of the plot out is to not ruin your experience with this tale, should you choose to read it, if you haven't already. If you have already read it, I'd love to know your thoughts. However, please do be respectful for those who have not yet read through this latest vision from one of the masters of Japanese horror. So this was a really wild manga, and I'm glad that I ended up picking it up. But I mean, I was going to pick it up regardless, and I'm holding it upside down, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I am. So I was going to pick this up regardless because I collect everything that Junji Ito does, and like I have this whole Junji Ito shrine up there, and I'll give you like I always talk about it like in almost every video, and I'll take a picture of it, and I'll plaster the picture on the front of this so you can get a good look at my Ito shrine. And there's actually a manga that I got to put up there, which is The Solving Classroom. I gotta add it to the top of the Ito shrine because that is my most immaculate shrine that I've ever made to a creator, because I love that dude. And I kind of have a little bit of a shrine over here for Berserk, for my man Kentaro Miura, who was a legend and deserves the utmost respect for the world that he created as well, for that world that he created, which is so expansive and so wonderful and dark and brutal and amazing. And I'm going to start reading those volumes. I did read the story a long time ago. I read a bunch of it. I read like a lot of it. I can't tell you where I left off because I don't remember. It was years ago, and I've been collecting the volumes, and like I haven't really opened any of them yet. But I'm going to open them next year, starting in 23. I have a lot of stuff planned for 23, so I'm going to be opening those, and I'm going to start doing Let's Reviews. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I might just do it like per volume. I might do a Let's Review like each one of those omnibuses, because otherwise it's going to take an eternity if I do a Let's Review, every so many volumes, because they're so big. They're huge volumes. I think it's like 600 pages each. So if I do a Let's Review for each volume, if I do a Let's Review every so many volumes, it's probably going to take an eternity. But then at the same time, like if I do a Let's Review for each volume, it's also going to take an eternity to just drop it. It's going to be like a bunch of videos. So it's like I got to figure out a rhythm that's going to work, for doing it. Or I might just do an arc. Or I might just do like each arc or something as a video and just not try to like pump out a ton of crazy videos. Really quickly too, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's been subbing to me. I'm like, we're almost like 300 people deep, which is wild. It's wild to almost have like 300 subs. I think I'm less than like 30 subs away from 300, and I found a screenshot from when the channel had like 32 subs or something, and I'll share it right here. But I mean, even now, like even at like 200 and something, which isn't like a huge number, in the grand scheme of things, I'm still extremely grateful that 200 and something people, subbed to me, that you hung out with me, and that you liked what I do enough to put your trust in me, that I'm going to keep creating content for you, because I do have like an endless supply of content just in the works for you all. And because this is just like a single volume that doesn't have, like it's not going to go anywhere else, I figured let's do a Let's Review about it. I do want to do a Why You Should Read, because I feel like those are more, geared towards, for me, like bigger stories or bigger collections of stories, like Witches is a bigger collection of stories. And the one that I'm going to be doing next, my next Why You Should Read, is going to be The Music of Marie, which is like a huge collection. I'm not even sure if it's a collection or not. I think it's just like a big story. I did To Your Eternity, which is an ongoing series, and I did Why You Should Read about the first part of it. I still haven't read part 2, but I do have, I think, the next like 2 volumes, 7 and 8, which start like what is essentially part 2 of To Your Eternity. Like, I haven't read them yet. I read this, and I just, as I was reading it, I was like, I have to do a video about this because I love Junji Ito's style. He has such a unique, bizarre vision for the way that he creates his stories and his characters, and I love that he always has like the one, like brunette girl and everything. Every like almost every like one of his series that I've read, except for like Censor. I think Censor was like the only one that didn't have a brunette girl. It was like a blonde girl, and she was blonde because of something within that story. I actually did a video about Censor, which you can find on my channel, and I'm gonna not be doing a lot of like posting links to videos because I'd really like it if you guys just went on my channel and explored. Like, I have so much content on there. There's like 80 something videos. I've got some that are actually about music. Sometimes I do videos about music because I'm a huge music buff and I'm all over the place. I like a lot of different stuff. I'm not a person that can be kind of put into one box and be checked off, and that's what I am. For the most part, yeah, this has become a manga channel, but in the earlier days, this was like pretty much like one video would be manga, the next video would be music, and kind of like that. Every other video was one or the other. And as the channel has kind of like gone on and grown and whatnot, it's become for the most part a manga channel. But I don't want to lose the music part of it, even though like right now I think I do a music video like once a month, sometimes once every 2 months. Even though it's fallen away a bunch, it's still to me a channel that isn't solely about one thing. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, stay with me, that I brought you some kind of entertainment. And if that is the case and you haven't subbed to me yet, I would appreciate it if you do sub to the channel. Obviously you do not have to, but it would make me really happy, and it would be cool to add more friends, more voices to this channel. And I don't want to look at you guys like followers because that is lame. I always try to respond to like every comment that everyone sends me. Not that like I have so many comments that it's impossible for me to respond to them all. Like, I have a work life, outside of this, so I'm not, going to reply to everything right away. And sometimes I just don't really have, like a super duper amount of time, but I do try to, give a decent response to everything that I get. I like seeing some of you guys leave me like really long messages, and that means something, because that's saying like you took time out of your day to write me like a big message and just express your feelings about a series or tell me what's going on or whatever. And that's cool to me, like that you took time. And if I don't send you back like a huge message in response, it's not that I don't value your input. It's just that like, yeah, I don't have a lot of time to be eloquent, and to like write you like a whole big message back. And it's nothing personal, and it's not me being a jerk. It's just that, yeah, like I just don't have, for the most part, I'm super busy all the time, but I do appreciate it, and I do respond. And even though my responses aren't always, huge responses, I just want you to know that I do appreciate it, and that I am grateful for every single message that anyone sends me, like whether you send me a message or like a video or even just sub to the channel. Every one of those things, matters to me, and it makes me want to make more content. It makes me want to keep going because it shows that you guys are responsive, that you're enjoying the content. And I do have like a lot of stuff, and going into 23, I have videos that are planned for 23, so you're not going to see those videos until 23, and you'll know because I'll go out of my way to make sure hey, this video is specifically for 23, but that's not going to be until 23. So yeah, please stick around. If you're not already subbed to me, please stick around, because yeah, there's just a slew of content, and I really want to make 23 a huge year for this channel. Even though like, even if we don't like explode and become a huge channel, the fact that people are here and the fact that people are watching, that means the absolute world to me. So I just wanted to say a really quick thank you so much for hanging out with me, as always. I'll never stop saying that, because I do appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. It does mean the world to me that you took time out of your day, out of your schedule, out of whatever you're up to spend a few minutes with me and to talk about some manga. So thank you so much for hanging out. Please take care of yourselves.